Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. Today is Thursday, March 28, 2013. Thank you all for tuning in. A few things to cover here. First, we'll start off with the usual S&P 500 E-mini futures. What you're going to see here is that the futures are trading higher by about 1 point this morning. They have really rallied up quite nicely over the morning time frame. So you can see here the futures really were much lower. Around 1552, 1551, they have rallied back up, trading right now around 1557. So a little early dip around the overnight session. Then they made a little higher low, and they have rallied back up to really the unchanged level, trading up about 1 point at the moment to 1557.50. So again, watch the U.S. dollar index. That will tell you everything you need to know today. Look at the dollar here. You can see the dollar made a nice big surge. Once the dollar pulls back, the markets can move higher, and we're seeing that inverse relationship between the markets and the dollar once again. It did decouple pretty much for the first couple of months this year, but once we get into a higher volume period, you'll see the dollar trade inverse to the overall stock markets like the S&P 500 index. All right, a couple of other things to talk about quickly. While we keep that chart up, I just want to go over the markets last night. The Asian markets really were hit hard. You had the Nikkei 225 index down 1.25%. Not that big a deal, but each night you see that thing up 2%, down 2%. Still remains near the highs, but nonetheless, it's not a healthy market. It's a propped up market by central banks, and eventually that scenario over there is going to end ugly. But the big decliner last night was the Shanghai index. That was down nearly 3%. Exactly, it was down 2.84%. So that's a big decline. This morning you probably could see see equities like the FXI trading lower already. So just take it for what it is. The PEK will also be under pressure. But FXI, a little more liquid. You could see it there. But all of the Chinese ADRs could be under pressure today. Leading stocks like Baidu and so forth, which have been beaten down. You can see this starting out a little bit lower. But that's a big decline in the Shanghai last night. Down, nearly 3%. I think that's worth watching. So you're going to watch for weakness really in the Chinese ADRs. It looks like the news out of Shanghai was that the property stocks are once again coming under heavy selling pressure. So either way, we don't even care really about the news. We only care about the market's reaction. Be careful with the Chinese ADRs today. Okay, it doesn't matter if they're property ADRs, telecoms. It doesn't make a difference. Internet stocks, Chinese ADRs could be under pressure at least at the start of the day. If the U.S. markets trade higher and they hold up pretty well, I don't think we're going to see that big of a hit in the Chinese ADRs. But if the U.S. markets slump and they start to falter, Chinese ADRs are on the list of stocks that could really be weak today. Japanese ADRs could also be on a little bit on the weak side, but a 1% decline is nothing compared to a nearly 3% decline that took place in the Shanghai. So watch the Chinese ADRs first and foremost. The European markets seem to all be holding steady today. You do have the German DAX up about 0.5%. French CAC 40 is up 0.6%. Italy is actually up 1%, and Spain is actually up 0.5%. The London FTSE 100, that is up 0.8%. So Europe is holding up fine. Tomorrow there is a holiday here in the United States and in Europe. The markets will be closed for the Good Friday holiday. Also, this Sunday we have the Easter holiday. So markets in Europe will be closed on Monday, I believe. But they will be open in the U.S. on Monday. So we're looking at potentially 2 light volume trading days going forward in the United States. Today could be a light volume day, barring any real activity or geopolitical events taking place. And then Monday we should have another light volume session. So traders should be aware of that at least going forward. There are a few other things to talk about real quickly. If you look at the U.S. markets today, we do have gold a little bit lower. So let's take a look at the GLD. Gold is down $5. The spot price of gold is now trading at $16.02, down about 5 points this morning. And you'll see the GLD trickling down a little bit as well, The GLD closed at 155.36. Today it's trading at $154.88. So definitely down a little bit. Oil is down about 17 cents. The dollar is a little bit weaker this morning, so oil could catch a little bit of a bid higher. I would not rule out oil going to that $97 a barrel level, but I do think there's a lot of resistance at that area. So traders should watch for that. But right now, let's take a look at the USO, which is a good proxy for oil, and you'll see that the USO is trading at $34.51. Basically closed at $34.55. So not a big deal there. But if the dollar falls, oil will move up. If the dollar catches a bid, good chance that oil will retreat and pull back. There looks to be a lot of daily chart resistance around the 97 level at the moment. Okay, and that's on light sweet crude. Couple of other things here worth noting. You have some stocks in the news. Most notably, Red Hat is in the news. There's also some news out on BlackBerry. I guess BlackBerry, which is Research in Motion, but they did change their ticker symbol to BBRY. This one's all over the map this morning. Hard to make a lot out of it. It did trade as high as 16, now down to $14.32. Don't make too much out of it. Again, I think BlackBerry has a lot of resistance up here around the 1650 level, if it even got up to that area again. But it looks like they did have some news this morning, basically talking about how they're going to be they're going to have posted earnings. But again, we only care about the market's action. We really could care less about the news. So just take it for what it's worth. Overall, it should be a light volume trading session after the first couple of hours. The news out of Cyprus is right now, is that the banks reopened, but they're acting like ATMs. They're armed guards there. There's no real bank run, so to speak, but they're only allowed to take out a limited amount of money out of the banks, and they're not allowed to cash checks. So I don't even know what kind of banking system that is today in Cyprus, but nonetheless, it is what it is, and we'll have to take it for what it's worth. Either way you slice it or dice it, there doesn't seem to be any real, violence or anything, at least not yet. But people are only allowed to cash out 300 euros, so and they cannot deposit a check, or cash a check, I should say. They can make deposits, they cannot withdraw or cash a check. So I don't even know. I guess it's just a glorified ATM that the banks are even open. It looks like final Q4 GDP came out. I'm not even sure what it was. To be honest, I really don't even care. I just care about the market's reaction. And right now, if you look at the E-mini futures, we're flat on the session, and this is where we are today. So again, let's take it slow. Watch for the best chart patterns. I do have about 3 or 4 gap plays this morning. I'll post those up in the chat room. Red Hat is one of them. They will be posted by 9 o'clock. So again, if you want to get the early morning gap plays, come over to the chat room, and we'll have those posted at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right, with that said, everybody, I want to wish you all a great trading day, a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you all on the charts. Take care now.